Welcome to the Church on a Hill podcast with Tim Sievers and Pastor Corey from Palouse Federated Church in Palouse, Washington. We're glad you could join us. Pastor Corey, it's good to be with you. As people can probably see if they're watching this online, we have a guest with us, special guest, John Batchelder from Ross Point Camp. So welcome, John. It's good to have you with us. Yeah, Pastor Corey, what are we doing here with John today?
Well, John is a good friend and the executive director up at Ross Point Camp in Post Falls, Idaho. And we have a great relationship with that camp, send youth and adults up there for camps and retreats. And we wanted to check in with John and do an interview and see what's going on up there at Ross Point with COVID-19 and reopening and summer camps. So we thought the best way to do it would be to have John on the show and just ask him what's going on. So John, good morning and welcome. And how you doing?
We're doing pretty well. It's been really quiet here.
I bet. Yeah.
We talk, I know it's that way at churches too, but the whole point of camp ministry is to bring people together. And when we're not able to bring people together, that means that we just haven't had anybody here since March. And so we're encouraged by the way that Idaho is rebounding, and they call it a rebound Idaho. And our governor has issued stages of reopening. And we are now in a second stage, which goes for another couple of days, and then we'll move into third stage. And then by mid-June, we anticipate being done with any kind of formal governmental restrictions. And so that's kind of exciting for us, and that's what we're working on as far as how we plan to operate camp. Certainly we want to do what is safe for everyone, and we're monitoring and working closely with the Panhandle Health Department, which has the close guidelines for us. There are some national guidelines, but the national guidelines always say deal with your local health department, and that's who we're working with, and making sure that we're current with what they want from us. And so by June 15th, as long as the stages continue to progress, Idaho will be out of those restrictions. And so that's encouraged for us as we prepare for summer.
And for youth summer camps, that's about when the youth summer camps are planning to start this year. Is that right, June 15th? Or I don't have the schedule memorized.
That's on the schedule.
Yeah.
June 14th was the first day. And we have sent around notices to parents and campers that we're going to be moving our camps into July this year because of the timing of everything. Initially, it was because of schools not getting out, and then because of restrictions for travel and group size. So now we've moved them into July. So our plan is that beginning the 12th of July, we'll do a combined junior high and senior high camp. And then the following week, the 19th through the 22nd or 24th, it's going to be the combined camp of junior and middlers. Those two have been combined for years, and so that will be nothing new. But the junior and senior high, we're expecting, because of the timing and just conditions of life, that there won't be as many camps registered as previous years. So we decided to move them to the same week. Since we had 1 week open, we'll just make it happen all that same time.
Cool. So parents and youth who want more information, I think the website is rosspoint.org to see that new schedule. Is that right?
Yes, it's on there. Yeah. And there's some information about some generalities about what we're doing. We say we're going to increase our sanitizing. Well, what does that mean? If you wanted to know, you could talk to us directly. But we have been working with primarily Panhandle Health Department, who gets their regulations from the CDC. They're guidelines. They're not regulations. So they get their guidelines, and we're following those guidelines. And then we're also part of the American Camp Association, national organization, and we're members of Christian Camp and Conference Association, and we're members of two other specific camp organizations. And all of these organizations are working really diligently to do the best thing for people who are coming to camp, for the ministry, but for the safety. We talk all the time about campers have to be safe. So like when we do activities, we do the ropes course, we make sure they harnesses and helmets, they all fit, because we want to keep them physically safe. But just as important is we need to keep them emotionally safe as well. So we want people to know that we're doing just all the things that we can do to keep people safe physically, particularly as regard to spreading of diseases. So those are things that we're working on. The ACA just came out this week with a thorough rendition of how do the regulations and recommendations from our government and our CDC and our health departments, how can we apply those at camp? And it's called Field Guide for Camp Operations. And it's about 30 pages on, okay, so you have a camp store. Okay, we got a camp store. So what are some things that you can do in your camp store to make that safe for people? So, and in some ways it'd be a lot like a drive-through. Instead of having people come into the store and everybody touching everything, we'll have a couple people in there who will say, what would you like? And they'll go get it for them and then bring it out to them. So that's just one example of the many things that this field guide for camps is talking about. And it's covering activities, it's covering meal service. And for us, meal service is a big deal. And we have for years spent time with family style meals because of the interaction that gives. Well, that can be a challenge now. Though all the restrictions will be off by the time our campers are here, we still plan to limit the number of tables that we have in our dining room. And normally we put 8 or 9 at a table. We'll probably go down to 6 at a table just to spread out a little bit more. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to move to a serving line. We'll have our staff actually serve people as they come through. And so there won't be any passing of dishes, anything like that. We'll have a staff member who does all the drink dispensing and things like that. We're going to really miss our open salad bar, but we're going to do away with that for a while, and we'll prepare a group salad. So it'll be a Caesar salad one meal, and a garden salad another meal, and maybe a 3-bean salad another meal, and we will serve those out. So people will come by, and any condiments that we have, things like salt and pepper, ketchup, those will all be individual packets. There won't be shakers at the table that everybody touches. So those are the kind of things that we're talking about to do to minimize the transfer. And then of course, we're just really increasing the ability for hand washing and sanitizing. We're putting new dispensers in different places and have processes to make those used. And of course, sanitizer is important, but actually washing hands is more important. So we want to make sure that people are regularly washing hands, and that'll just be one of the responsibilities of all the adults who are here with campers.
Wow, it sounds like you're working through all kinds of details there, and super important. Tim, do you have any follow-up questions on that? You send your kids to camp.
I do send my kids to camp. I look forward to sending my kids to camp every year. No, they love camp, and I love camp, and I'm sad about the salad bar because that's one of my favorite parts about the meal. But I know someday there's hope it'll come back.
That's the plan. That's the plan. To get it back.
So I guess from my perspective, Corey, I'd just say I really appreciate how everything that they're doing up at camp to make sure that our kids are safe when they're there and that they still have a great experience. They still get to learn about Jesus. They still get to have the camp experience, even though it's going to look and feel a little bit differently. I think that's crucial, is that they still get to do it. Camp isn't gone. It's happening, and I know they're looking forward to it, and I know that you guys up at camp are all looking forward to it too. I imagine, since you're all lonely up there right now, that you're looking forward to the company and the smiles and the joy and what camp is all about. Of course, sharing the love of God with those kids and getting them connected to Jesus. So, thank you for all you're doing. One of the things we had talked about is what I guess I have 2 places I want to go. One is, what effect has the COVID-19 shutdown had on camp? And then to follow that up, then how can we be praying for you and supporting you in the coming weeks and months. So I don't know, John, if you can speak to those two things, that'd be great.
We have been so blessed over the years as a ministry. Camps close regularly. When I first came to Ross Point, there were over 100 different American Baptist camps, and we're down to about 60 now. And that's just in 20 years. And so Ross Point has been tremendously blessed. And so we're in a good position, but this has been a very challenging time. I was just going through our financial numbers. Because we don't have groups here, groups represent over 90% of our revenue for the year. And we just passed with canceled groups, and most of the groups that have canceled have moved to next year. So they will be back, but that means there's no income coming in. So we've just passed $460,000 of lost revenue for the year. And obviously that's not all profit, but that is a huge chunk of what we use to make camp continue to happen. So just knowing that the position that we're in helps people. People pray for us. That's a huge deal. And then God would move some different people's hearts, that some people have the ability to help us out financially and are doing so. In fact, we're in the middle right now of I think you're familiar with the Giving Tuesday thing that happens in the end of the year every year for a number of years. Well, there's an organization that's put together, it's called Giving Tuesday Now. And although it's Giving Tuesday, it runs through next week, the 26th, that gifts that are given to Ross Point have the potential to be matched up to 100%.
Wow.
So that is a huge deal. And it started on the 5th of May, and so they're running it for about a 3-week period. So any gift given to Ross Point, and there's a specific, there's a URL that you go to in order to get there. And if anybody was interested, contact our office and we'll send you that specific.
We can share that on our page too. I think we can find it. So,
and if
but
not,
go ahead. Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But to go there and just, and it's kind of fun because we're a little place up in North Idaho, and they've totals are over $1.5 million given to about I think it's almost 500 or 600 different organizations, and currently we rank number 2 for the most money given. And so people have donated $30,000 over the last 2.5 weeks, and there's a potential for that to be doubled after the end of next week. So that's one way that can really help us out right now. Did that get to both your questions, Tim?
Yeah, I think so. That covered both. And, of course, giving, any extra giving that people can do, the praying is huge, because we believe in a God who is powerful and mighty, and who can change the world and make sure that we have the tools that we need to do the ministry He's called us to do. I would add, I guess, that sending kids to camp is a good way to support the camp.
Oh, yes.
and there is a cost associated with that. We love sending kids to camp from the Palouse area, and we send, I think, more than 40 a year from our area up to Ross Point that we support, and we have funds to help send them there if they can't afford it. So that's a part of our ministry here at our church. We want to make sure that kids have that experience. They have the opportunity to meet Jesus at camp. So we'll be, trying to get our kids up there, just like we always do.
Yeah.
And as far as registering for camps, that hasn't changed, right? The dates have changed, this process has changed. But if you want to learn more about camp, register for camp, what would a parent or guardian do if they're watching this?
Right on the homepage is something that says something like register now or sign up for camp. And you just click on that. It's going to take you through the process. We have a early registration deadline, and we've extended that till the end of May. And the one thing you want parents to know is anything that you pay registration-wise or full fee is fully refundable. If your child becomes sick the day before camp, keep your child home because your child needs to be safe at home. But we're going to refund 100% of whatever you've done. So don't let that consideration stop you from registering for camp.
That's good to know, and a good policy. I grew up as a kid going to Ross Point Camp, and it kind of hurts the heart a little bit to hear, oh, no family style, but we're going through the same thing at church, like thinking through all these little things that, like, okay, just to make people feel safe, but also to decrease the risk of potential infection. Some little things here and there have to change. And how's it been processing those decisions? Just thinking through that.
We go through a lot of the specifics, the details. How can you make this happen? How can you make that happen? But still, so much of it comes down to, personal care. We need to be responsible. We need to practice good hygiene. If we're sick, if the staff is sick, we need to stay away. We'll be doing the recommended temperature taking as campers arrive. We're probably going to try to have no more than one adult per one camper, bring them in. So it's not 4 or 5 people dropping off one camper. We'd like that to be limited to one. That's one of the ACA recommendations. So we'll do some temperature taking following that, just to make sure that we do our part to help people keep safe. But people need to realize too that we've got a responsibility to do those right things too. And part of the training for our staff this year will be to make sure, children, campers, are you washing your hands? Go wash your hands. Wash your hands again. Do it again. Now go wash them once more, to make sure that that's going to be an important part of our stewardship for resources this year.
Is Panhandle Health requiring masks or anything like that? Is that a recommendation or no?
Not specifically. Even within the food service department, we have purchased masks for our staff who do the food service. So our staff cooking, preparing, cleaning, serving will be wearing masks. And a lot of this is just, as of today. If things change significantly in a month, some of them may change. But right now, that is our plan, that we'll have those people who are serving the food. They'll be obviously wearing gloves. We do that anyway, but then they'll be wearing gloves and masks to do that. Although it's not going to be a requirement for campers to do that. That's another reason why it's really important that if campers are not well, that they stay home.
Yeah.
And heal at home.
Yeah.
And we've been working with our camp nurse too. She's been here for years, and she's coming, and she's gone through these the material that I've gotten. I've passed on to her, and so we're working on things from the healthcare side of things too, to make them just as safe as possible for everyone. And our policy has been before, since camp is only a week, if a child gets noticeably sick, our policy has always been to send them home, because it's just there's not enough time here for them to be sick for 2 or 3 days and then get back into stuff. So we've already had that policy in place, that if a child is sick more than just an overnight, then we do send the children home, and we'll continue to do that for their safety and everyone else's.
A couple more areas that I'm sure you guys have thought through. I think I've read something about this in one of your emails or something, but cabins and then games for youth, which is a big thing, right? And I guess that the free time activities too might be related to the games, the outdoor type activities. So what are you thinking in those areas?
Our cabins normally have 12, and we're going to reduce that to 7 campers per cabin, and then the 2 staff that would be in there. We'll have sanitizing spray in all the cabins. One of the first practical things we want to do is every time anyone enters a cabin, the very first thing they do is go into the bathroom and wash their hands. And so that's one of the recommendations from the camp associations that we're working with. And then we're doing things with, say, like the miniature golf. We're going to put together a little dunking tube, so that The golf clubs can be dumped thoroughly, completely in a cleaning solution, and then they'll put in a rack to dry, which is outside, and then they'll air dry, and we'll put all the golf balls in a liquid sanitizing solution. So you want a golf ball, it's like bobbing for apples, except do it with you. And then when you're done with the golf ball, it goes back into the sanitizing solution. We'll change that stuff up every day.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that we're going to do. On a climbing wall, we have 6 climbs. And one of the things that is coming out is that the virus doesn't last very long outside. Some say as few as 90 seconds. Others say, it's a couple hours. But either one of those, what that is that if we only do that climbing wall activity every day, we're going to alternate the routes. So we have 6 routes. We'll have 3 open one day and 3 open the next day. We'll have sanitizer up there so people can sanitize before they climb and after they climb. And so those are the kind of things that we're talking about doing.
Cool. And, a lot that I've read is outdoor activities are good, right? And the infection rates are very, very low outdoors as far as they can tell. And a big part of camp is being outdoors, right?
And we're going to encourage our directors to spend as much time outside. And even though, we talked about the dining room, maybe we're going to walk through that serving line and just ask people to go out and sit outside, even to eat. We do that 1 or 2 meals a week anyway, so we'll have that opportunity to do that more. And outdoors really is such a thing. And when you talk about scriptural point of view, it says the heavens declare the glory of God. The earth proclaims the works of his hands. Well, let's spend as much time out in the works of his hands as we can. And I know the directors are working on that too. You asked about some other activities. So we're going to focus on activities that are, yes, they're group, but they're not tight. So we might do, thinking some examples, soccer instead of rugby, because we don't want scrums going along. So we're going to try to format, well, what activities do we do this year that, there's going to be some proximity, but it's not a sustained time in close proximity.
That's good. Well, I appreciate all the leadership you provide up there at Ross Point Camp, and it is a safe and healthy place for our kids. And just thank you for all you and your staff are doing. So,
well, you're welcome.
Anything else you want to share with us, John or Tim? You have any other questions?
No.
Yeah. Anything else, John? You want to share about the camp or anything?
Oh, we're really looking forward to having folks here, and we're looking forward to that's why we exist. We exist to gather people together and to encourage them to know Jesus for the first time and encourage them to grow in their walk and their faith in Christ. So we're looking forward to being able to do that again actively here in the next month and a half.
Most important question for last, and it's easy. Will all the cookies still be available during camp?
Yes.
So this is not affected. How many cookies Harriet will make?
No.
The cookies will still be available.
She's been tagged by a couple of groups to make cookies and send them out as prizes for different things that they're doing right now. So
that sounds like a great idea. I would like a prize.
Yeah, so you might want to put together some kind of something there at the church, and the winner gets cookies from camp.
Oh, got to figure out a way for me to win, though. That's the trick. So,
well,
wow. Okay, that was probably the most important question I had was the cookie thing. So.
Yeah. Nope. They'll be here. They'll be ready.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Tim, you want to sign us out?
I will. So thank you all for listening and watching. This has been Tim Sievers and Pastor Corey coming to you from our Zoom studios in the rolling hills of Palouse, Washington. And we hope you have a blessed week. Thanks for watching.